And it's going to take all of us to get there to 24 and push back against this extreme agenda. And I'm so glad that Julie's here to share how we can do this together.
So you may have seen us out at some of the events this last year for Katie Hobbs and Chris Mays. We held some campaign events for them that reached 40 to 80 people in attendance at some points and helped push us over the finish line. This upcoming fall, we will work in Reproductive Rights Coalition with Planned Parenthood, Arizona List, and several others for a ballot initiative. So this summer we're doing all kinds of trainings on how to be a volunteer leader and a petition gatherer and things like that. So come talk to me if you're interested in joining us in that fight. But in the meantime, we have action councils all over the state. We have a main one in Maricopa that meets once a month and takes action on trainings, comes to events like this, and you can learn how to be an activist volunteer leader in your area. So if you're interested in that, come see me. But other than that, yeah, let's prep for 2024 so we can get a pro-choice president again, you get a pro-choice senator. And flip the state legislature, because that is the biggest thing that we need to help our attorney general and our governor do the things that they want to do.
And now it is my distinct pleasure to bring to the microphone a leader, an activist, a fighter who's been doing this a long time, Senator Raquel Teran, who I know that you organized with us for a while.
Yes, I'm here.
Right? Yeah. So real proud to just be surrounded by folks who have been doing the fight and ready to continue with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelley. Thank you, Julie. And oh my gosh, I was going to go by my remarks that are on my phone, but I'm getting older and I can barely see, so I really appreciate it. I know. I appreciated that Brittany started off by saying that this was a day of reflection. And I think everybody who has spoken before me has done an amazing job of reflecting what it was a year ago for us, right? But it's also a reflection of what we have accomplished all together for so many years when we've had to fight back, right? And we are in the ultimate fight back mode right now. And I do want to start off though with a ton of gratitude for this organization and the coalition who fought back last year by organizing, going out and knocking on doors, talking to people, engaging everybody that we could to have the victories. So that's number one. Gratitude for the experts that are out here giving a dirt right now, making sure we have a safe space here to have this reflection, to have this conversation. And most importantly, when they're not here, ensuring that we are safe, they are out there outside the clinics, making sure that a person who wants to have an abortion can have an abortion without having people shaming them, asking them to play the rosary. They walk them in and make sure they exercise their right. And I'm going to end up with thanking Brittany because last year was her first year at Planned Parenthood as the executive director. And oh my God, what tremendous leadership she has demonstrated for us here in Arizona. And I think that it's, yes, I am so fortunate to have been here both with Kelley and with Jody and so many other of you who have we've been here in this same space. Either we were protesting 1497, we were organizing to protect the Affordable Care Act. When, you know what? And that was like, people were telling us that the Affordable Care Act was going to be gutted, and Planned Parenthood, along with our coalition, we said, you know what? We're going to get John McCain. Who remembers when John McCain turned his thumb down? It was because of the pressure of this coalition. It was because we said, you know what, we need to protect the Affordable Care Act. And now we're saying that we need legal and safe abortion. And that's the same attitude that we're going to continue to take. Yes, we can. Even though people are saying no se puede, we're saying yes, we can. And I've also had the opportunity to reflect today on a trip I took to El Salvador, and I think I shared with many of you. Back in 2019, I was part of a delegation that traveled to El Salvador on a fact-finding mission of what it was like to be in a country, to the consequences, the detrimental consequences of a full abortion ban. And I will never forget that trip, because we visited women who were incarcerated for miscarriages, for stillbirths, and it was horrible. It was horrible to see them in prison and not have their liberty. And they were the poorest women, the women of color, the women who didn't have access to education, the women who didn't have access to health care, the women who didn't have access to provide more for their family who were incarcerated. Make no mistake, those are the women who, or the people who are most affected when we have these restrictions, when we have these bans. It's targeted. It's never about freedom. It's always, always about control. Never about freedom. And it's always, always about control. I have good news though. All those women that we visited are free. Are free. Because there was organizing around them. Some of them did spend about 9-10 years. I don't know how many years, what was the most a person spent in jail. But I can tell you that since the first woman was incarcerated, there was organizing that happened. And they triumphed and they were able to get them out. But there's still a full abortion ban. So let's not forget that this is a global issue, right? This is not only happening here, it's happening across the country. Again, this is an attempt, across the globe. And last, I just want to say, like, if they were able to get these women out, they had the Si Se Puede attitude, we have to continue to have our Si Se Puede attitude here in Arizona, in the United States. I too am confident that we're going to keep a Democratic governor and a Democratic attorney general, and I am confident that we're going to get to majorities. I am confident that we're going to have our second U.S. Senator. I am confident that we're going to get back the U.S. House of Representatives, because the threat of the Republicans is real. They want a full abortion ban. We cannot put our head in the sand. They want a full abortion ban across the country, and we need to fight that. And we're going to fight that by organizing, by going to the courts, and by getting people out to vote. We have to remain committed. And in Congress, we need to not just codify Roe, we need to make sure that we go above and beyond. Like Brittany said earlier, that is the bare minimum. So we have a lot of work to do, but we're ready. We have people power. We have to get resources to make sure that we get that ballot, whatever comes in fruition of the ballot initiative, that we get it through the finish line if and when that happens. With that, I am so honored to introduce the next speaker, because he has been a friend of mine. We've been fighting on immigration reform, we've been fighting on worker rights, and we've been fighting on reproductive freedoms for a long time. So I'm so proud to have seen Congressman Ruben Gallegos be a champion in Congress. He was not just a person who showed up and voted the right way. He has been speaking up, he has been fighting for us, and he is an amazing person that's going to do a great job in his next role.